pastors and money. Such a controversial topic. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about what I believe are the top 5 mistakes that church planters, church planting pastors make when it comes to money and finances. My name is Jeff Moores. I am a church planter. I'm a lead pastor. I am a leadership consultant. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm kind of a man of many talents. Just kidding. But anyways, Jeff Morris, hey, be sure to like and subscribe. Comment on this video. I want to know what you think about these five, what I believe are some of the biggest mistakes that church planters are making when it comes to finances. Number 1 is you spend too much time going after money and not enough time going after people. You spend way too much time traveling to fundraise, to meet with this church and this organization, and not enough time in the city that you're planting, meeting with your leaders, connecting with your people, team building, discipling, leadership developing. No, you're out there trying to get your hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars instead of investing in the people that are actually going to help this church grow and go, which, by the way, you got to be aware of that each organization and each network requires a certain percentage back. Not all, but most require a certain percentage of your church's income back to them for the next either several years or for the entirety of your church's life. Wow. Number 2 is you launch with too much money. I'm seeing church planners out there launching with insane amounts of support and finances. And because of it, they're not as hungry. You got to have a little bit of desperation. You got to have a little bit of hunger. You got to have a little bit of that. I'm burying my face in the carpet as I'm crying out to the Lord. How are you going to make this thing work? You see, when you have too much money, you start to think differently. You think about who can I hire for this position as opposed to who can I raise up as a leader on my leadership team to then take that position. You pick a nicer venue than you should, as opposed to starting in somewhere that's maybe a little bit grungier, a little bit grimier, but has a step up from it. Meaning that you're starting here, but you can go there. No, now you're just starting there. And where do you go from there? You've already started at the top. And when you have too much money to start off with, you don't feel compelled to teach on it like you should, meaning you're missing out on discipling your brand new congregation on how to manage their finances in a godly and biblical way. Why? Because you don't need to. You've got it all set. I'm telling you, a little desperation goes a very long way when you're church planning and you don't have enough finances. Wow. Number 3 is you overspend on equipment. You overspend on your sound system. You overspend on your LED wall. You overspend on your chairs. You just overspend on your lights. You go way too in on all of this stuff. Now, what that does is 2 things. 1 is it communicates to your congregation that you guys already are at a level of excellence. And so therefore, either A, they're not needed, because remember, they're a church plant. They're coming in. They have an entrepreneurial spirit if they're wanting to be a part of a church plant. So they're coming in wanting to help, wanting to give, wanting to grow in your congregation. And you're communicating, honestly, by your equipment, we're set. We've got this. We don't need you. The other thing that it does is number 2 is that it robs you of connection and relationship with other churches. Meaning there are so many churches in your city that you could connect with, that you could meet with their pastors. And I guarantee you they've got extra lights. I guarantee you they've got an extra sound system, especially if they're an established church, maybe even a larger church that have been around for a number of years. They've got something that they can give you. And if you're not going to them saying, hey, can you help out? Hey, can we have your old projector? Hey, can we have your old screen? And it actually saves you some money. And then check this out. A year from now, maybe you still have the money to buy the LED wall and all the cool screens. Then a year from now, you're able to do that, and it's an upgrade. Too many of us are starting out upgraded already. Number 4, are you ready for this? You spend too much money on marketing. You spend too much money on digital ads. But Jeff, that's what we're supposed to do. How are we going to get the word out? When you're spending too much money on digital ads, spend some. We spent money on digital ads. We did all that stuff. But when you begin to depend on your digital marketing to get people to your interest parties or to get people to your preview services, then what you're doing is you're depending upon that as opposed to having that one-on-one, the one-to-one connection that is necessary for every pastor to have in his community. If At your interest party, you have 50 people show up and you're like, it's amazing because we had 50 people sign up that they would be a part of it through the marketing funnel that they signed up through. But if the people at your interest party did not come because you or one of the people on your team personally invited them, then that's a loss. When there's that one-on-one individual connection, there's a much higher chance that they will join in because there's already some personal relationship there. Okay, and number 5, and this actually, from what I've just said, 1 through 4, might sound counterintuitive, but please hear me out. This is probably one of the most important. You hold on. That's right. You hold on to your finances. You don't spend. You don't spend enough. You're like the one talent guy in the parable of the talents, or as the NIV puts it, the bags of gold. You bury it, you put it away, you save it. You don't want to spend it because what if we might need it later? Well, if you don't spend it now, there might not be a later to spend it. I like the business term that scared money don't make money, meaning that you have to be willing to risk forward and invest in different areas of your church if you want to see those areas grow. So don't be afraid to spend some money on the children's stuff. Don't be afraid to spend some money on your AVL. Don't be afraid to spend some money maybe on that staff person that you know is going to help you go from here to here to here. In our organization, for the first few years, actually now for the first 4.5 years, we've had a couple of those years where we call them risk forward years, where we're going to spend a little bit more and dip into that savings in order to get us where we believe we need to go. And let me tell you this, is that we've never had to dip into that savings because even though we risk forward a little bit, it always backfills. If you hire the right staff person, the finances will backfill. So there you go. Number 1, you spend too much time going after money and not enough time going after people. Number 2, you launch with too much money and you lose desperation and drive. Number 3, you spend too much money on equipment when you could start downgraded and then be able to upgrade later. Number 4, you spend too much money on digital marketing, therefore relying upon digital marketing to get the people to your interest parties and your church launches, as opposed to just getting out there and one-on-one, individually inviting people, person to person. And then number 5, counterintuitive a little bit to 1 through 4, but you hold on to it. You don't spend enough money on the things you need to get you to where God is taking you. That's it. I'd love to know your thoughts, your opinions. Maybe there's another one that I missed, another mistake that church planners are making with money, or what you might think pastors should be doing with finances instead. Could get controversial, could get weird, but I'd love to hear it. Drop it in the chat, like this video, share this with a church planter, or share this with a fellow pastor. I'm Jeff Moores. Like, follow, subscribe. We'll talk to you later.